All right. Welcome. Welcome back, everyone, and those who are new. It is a new season here, the GBA. We wrapped up last season um, with, I think, who won that? Does anybody know who won that? Yeah, it can't be important. Can't be important, but yeah, we are back. It is seems like a short turnaround for the NBA season, and we are I think everybody's pretty excited. It seems like there's a little bit of buzz around the NBA this time of year. A lot of guys signing contracts, and right before the season, it's exciting. And I'm here and excited to lead you guys through another NBA season, and looking forward to it. But without further ado, let's talk a little bit. I haven't even got a chance to look at um, the draft from last. We, if I can, are we back? Yes. Let me see if I can switch this over. My bad. My bad. Was not ready. What is going on here? Share screen. Yep. All right. Here we go. Yeah. So we a couple weeks ago we completed the rookie draft here, and really was kind of an interesting draft. I think as we kind of got towards the later parts of the first round, we saw some guys creep up that we weren't necessarily expecting. We saw some guys fall that we weren't necessarily expecting. But yeah, so Cooper Flag going 1-1 here to Murph. I think that was to be expected. I mean, there was no reason Murph should have went anywhere else. Cooper Flag's going to be the main option for the Mavericks. One of the main options, I guess, for the Mavericks. And it'll probably be a day one starter for them as well, and probably a day one starter for Murph. And Sergio, welcome to the league. I don't think I've given you a proper welcome yet, but I appreciate you joining. I hope you learn quick and stay on your toes. But yeah, we really liked. I really liked this pick of Dylan Harper going number 2. I think he's had to share the ball a little bit more than the Cooper Flag situation with Wimby being there and a lot of young talent there for San Antonio. And then Daniel getting Ace Bailey. This is who I was hoping. I was hoping Daniel was going to go after Ace Bailey, but Daniel went after Ace Bailey. And I've heard, um, you know, good things and bad things about Ace Bailey. It sounds like he's just an elite scorer, but the the drive and the want to might be what is an issue for Ace Bailey. But they said a lot of the same things about guys like Anthony Edwards, um, you know, LaMelo Ball. Some of these guys coming out of college, they say the same thing. That's all talk. But the talent is definitely there for Ace Bailey, and looking forward to watching him in a Utah Jazz uniform. Then I had the next pick. I was up in the air on what I wanted to do here, but I went with the true point guard, a young kid, 19 years old, Jeremiah Fears. I don't think he's necessarily a guy that's probably going to play a ton right off the bat for the Pelicans, but it's a guy I think is definitely going to be maybe by midseason a rotation guy this year and potentially be an absolute stud in the league. At 19 years old, I really like the upside, and looking forward to watching more of Jeremiah. Then we have VJ Edgecombe, former Baylor guy. He was a lot of fun to watch in college, and he's going to be one of the main options there in Philly. A new era there in Philly, and he's kind of leading the charge. I think he's a scorer for sure, but definitely I felt like lacks a little bit on the defensive side of the ball. He's a little um, I, from what I've watched of him in college, he always seemed a little timid, but the offensive game is definitely there. So be fun watching him. And then we have Knuppel, Con Knuppel, uh, kind of a big guard for the Charlotte Hornets. This was a Marsh pick. I'm pretty sure. Um, I don't know too much about this guy, to be honest. I would love to read a little bit more about him. Maybe Marsh has a little bit he could say about him in the league. We do have a little notification here. Sergio, pro tip: just put trade offers on do not disturb. Amen. He's been trying to wheel and deal this week with Bradley Beal and Steph Curry have been I think in my inbox at least 3 times since he's got back in the country. But yeah, Con Knuppel going to Austin Marsh there, and I would expect that he'll probably be in the rotation a little bit this year. Oh, it says here that he's going to be a starting role to start the season, which that's pretty impressive for a younger player. He's 20 years old. And Derek Queen here is going to Michael. I watched him a lot last year at he was at Maryland, and he was a dog. I did not necessarily enjoy watching him beat up a Mile Illini. I think the 2 times I played him, he was very tough to guard. So he should be a handful. Him and Zion are going to be 2 big bodies. I mean, he's 6'9", 250 pounds. But he's a dog. I really like Derek Queen. I think he's going to be a very good player in the league. So that's a nice little pickup there by Michael. And then I went with Trey Johnson, former Texas player. Was really hyped to get him here. He's 19 also. I really liked a lot of the younger guys in the draft. They might not be day one starters, me as a guard for us. I'm pretty happy with that. Then Murph here getting Kaman Malak. Yeah, big boy, 7'1", 19 years old for the Suns. Former Duke guy. Why do I not remember him? I watch a lot of college basketball, but I do not remember him. Maybe Murph can put something in the chat here a little bit about him. But I know Murph was pretty hyped to get him. He texted me whenever he got this guy. And yeah, I mean, 7'1", 19 years old, and 250 pounds. Looks like he's had some impressive preseason games so far with 17 points, hitting some threes, number 10 overall pick. But yeah, that's going to be a fun one to watch, I think, for Murph too. He's done a good job with big men in the past. Then we saw Trent sneak into the first round here. It was actually a pretty good trade, I felt, for Watts that he just couldn't pass up with. I think Sabonis got moved in this deal, and Trent went out and got Igor Demon. Demon is going to probably be one of the first guys off the bench for the Nets, from what I understand. And he is a all around type of guard. I mean, he can shoot, he can score, he plays good defense. So I'm very interested to see if this trade ends up working out for Trent. I mean, giving up a player like Sabonis for an end of first round pick definitely felt like Watts probably going to win this trade, and it just makes Watts a better, even better than he was last year with the Sabonis. But yeah, we can kind of talk a little bit. I really like this Kalkbrenner pick here, which I kind of expected Marsh to pick him. I was hoping he would slide to me, but that's a Creighton guy. I figured we'd see Marsh pick him up. And then we even had like Herb Jones. I picked here. I mean, some guys that had been in the league before. Nobody else that really piqued my interest with these guys. I mean, a lot of mean, Yakin here, I ended up picking up. I think he's eventually going to be a really strong player for the Heat. But yeah, so that's the end of that with the draft. And let's go team by team here for a second. Let me switch this back over. Murph is talking a little bit here. He said debated on changing team name to the Flaggots. Thoughts? I'm a big fan of the Flaggots. I think that is a very appropriate name for a team that has Cooper Flag. um, and Carter Bryant was a steal, most athletic guy on the board. Um, we're let me I can maybe go back and look at that. I didn't see that. Or what is Walter Clayton? Where is he at? Carter Bryant. Carter Bryant. Yeah, he was a number 14 overall pick. I don't remember him much in college for some reason. He's out of Arizona. Um, he averaged 7 points, 4 rebounds, 2 blocks. So he's a big boy, 6'6", probably going to play a lot of small forward, it seems like. But yeah, I don't know too much about him. Must be Murph is pretty high on him apparently. So yeah, I liked a lot of Murph's picks that he had in this draft. I mean, I think he did a really good job. I don't know. I think looking through this draft, I mean, I think Murph did a really good job. I like the Ace Bailey pick for Daniel, which I mean, I think in my opinion, besides Cooper Flag, Ace Bailey is going to be the guy. I feel like my draft was probably a little questionable personally, just because of I went with a lot of youth and I went guard heavy because that's what I need. I need guards. I need one of them to stick. And I drafted one, two, three guards. So I mean, I needed him, and I forgot about this guy. This guy's a monster too. This Yang Hansen, 7'1", 270 pounds, and I've seen a little bit of his highlights on Twitter, and he looks like he can play at all levels. So I'm very excited to watch him going into this year. I think he's going to probably be in a backup role to start the year, though. All right, making sure nobody's putting anything in the Discord trashing me or anything. But all right, let's actually go back to the teams a little bit. All right, let's start down here. Can I not go to each team? Oof, boy. All right, this is how we're going to have to look at this. Let's present. Screen. Hold on. There we go. I'm back. All right. So let's go through each team here a little bit. Starting with Wyatt and the Blade Breakers. Yeah, so we got Jordan Poole moving over to the Pelicans. Um, you know, Ty Jerome, and this team, Porzingis is back. Yeah, Jokic is on the trade block. And of course, Dame Lillard is out for the year. Siakam, Julius Randle, Markkanen, Beasley. This team, I think it's going to be a competitive team. I don't think it's cream of the crop necessarily, but I think this is a team that, week in and week out, it's probably going to be right in the middle. Probably, a playoff team in this league with, I'm sure there'll be some guys tanking, but yeah, I like the team. I think it needs to probably get a little bit younger, getting some aging guys, and losing Dame Lillard hurts going into this year. Next, we're on to Clarence, who ended the year last year. I believe he was on a pretty strong note to finish the year. Maxey, Thompson's, both of these guys are number one or number two options for their team. Um, Daniels, Dyson Daniels, I know just got agreed to a 5-year rookie contract. That's big. Kawhi Leonard, Karl Anthony Towns, up and down. I think this is a really solid team, and well, maybe lacks a little bit of depth in my opinion, but the starting squad is very strong. Um, I would expect this team. Yeah, he's got Kyrie and LeBron. I know LeBron's out for. Phew, I think he's out for a while, so doesn't really help. But you look down here. I mean, he has Rob Dillingham, who's expected to have a little bit of a bigger role. Obviously, PJ Edgecombe. Um, so he's younger. I mean, this team is younger. I know, you see those names like LeBron and Karl Anthony Towns, and you instantly think, okay, he's got an older team. But I think that this team is really going to be led this year by a lot of these younger players. And I think that's exciting because Clarence in years past has had one of the older rosters in the league. So while I don't think this team is probably a top echelon team, I think it's a good team and a team that I would fully expect to, push for a playoff spot this year. And on to the Arlington Taxpayers. Taxpayers have been very competitive in this league every single year. And I don't think there's any reason to think that they won't be again this year. Doncic, going over to the Lakers last year, that was a huge deal. And he's looked good. I mean, I've even seen pictures of him this offseason. Looks to be like he's lost some weight on the LA diet. And looks good. Devin Booker is always good. James Harden going over the Clips this year. Josh Hart still there. The New York Knicks. Davis, I think, is actually healthy to start the year for once, so that's exciting. And then he's deep. I mean, you even look down here. I mean, he's got Vucevic. He's got Chris Middleton, who's good. Ayo Dosunmu, I think, is actually expected to have a good role this year. And then, obviously, like we said, he's banking on this Charlotte team to find a big man for him. I think this team is probably going to be a top 4 team in the league again this year. It's tough to say that he's not going to be unless, like we say every year, injuries can happen, but I think his team is deep enough he can withstand some of it. And the new guy in the league, Sergio. This team last year, I think we all said was if somebody managed it correctly, this team actually could be really good. But it didn't necessarily happen. So, we got Ja Morant, we got Desmond Bane moving over to Orlando, Brandon Ingram now in Toronto. And then, like Malik Monk even had some big games last year. Sengun is really good there. In Houston, Asur Thompson is a nice piece. And then I was kind of looking else. Who else is here? I mean, De'Aaron Fox is going to be out for a little while, and then Zach Edey. I mean, this team is if they can get healthy. I mean, having De'Aaron Fox and Edey out to probably start the year, they might not get out to the hottest start, but this is definitely a team. Said if managed well, can be a very competitive team and a tough knockoff every single week. So Sergio's got some work to do on his hands to make sure that this team is competitive week in and week out. But I think with a little bit of tinkering and a little bit of time, middle of the Jaren Jackson, Chet Holmgren, the Cum Bucket, Jabari Smith. This team is even deep. I mean, he's got some pieces here. This is a team I fully expect to be a championship contender again this year. He's made some great moves over the years. I mean, he's got Cam Thomas. He's got shot chuckers. This is the exact type of team that Michael loves to run because he's got shot chuckers. And I don't see why this isn't the case again this year, where we see Michael, run his mouth about his shot chuckers, and we see at the end of the year that he ends up coming up short like usual. Now on to Trent. It's a team that after this video might look completely different, but you know, Trent is obviously, everybody gets his trades every single week. Somebody gets at least one trade offer from him a week, or every person gets at least one trade offer every week from him. But if you look at this team, I mean, he has good pieces that I think he's willing to move. Who isn't he willing to move? You got Steph, DeRozan now in Sacramento, Anthony Edwards, his biggest piece that he got, Jimmy Butler, Denny Avdija, however you say his name, Miles Turner, Zubac, Brunson, Mark Williams. I mean, yeah, he's got some depth too, and some really nice players. Aaron Gordon being one of those. And then yeah, he went out and got Igor Demon as some youth. My personal opinion, Trent's team is probably the team that falls off the most. I just think that he's going to be battling injuries personally all year if he continues with this squad. I mean, he's just got a lot of guys that are getting older. I mean, McCollum's 34, Beal's 32, Andrew Wiggins is 30. I mean, not that saying that these guys are out of their prime by any means, but I mean, just a lot of older players, 36, 37. This is a really similar team to what we've seen with Clarence a couple years ago, and he was just injured constantly. But we'll see what Trent can cook up. I'm sure his team will look completely different, and I'll have to eat my words on what I say. And then here we have Watts. This team is deep, and it just gets deeper and deeper and deeper. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, MVP from last year, Jalen Williams, Trae Young, Kevin Durant, Zion, Wagner, Mobley, Derek White, Terry Eason, Jamal Murray. I mean, this list goes on and on and on. And almost every single player on this team, I feel like, has been an all-star at one point, which is just crazy to think. I think that this team, again, is going to compete for the championship. This is a team, would not be surprised if, they're the team to beat. Do I think it's necessarily going to happen? I don't know. I mean, we have to see. That's why we play the games. And but Watts, as always, is sitting in a good spot. He's managed his team so well, and it just seems like it gets deeper and deeper every week. So be fun going up against Watts. See if somebody can knock him off week in and week out. The Louisville Lumberjacks. This team, I have a little bit higher hopes for this year. Last year they struggled, especially losing Paolo to begin the year. But they're healthy and have a lot of youth and a lot of young, really talented players. Big fan of LaMelo. Cooper Flag going to be a big option. Emmanuel Quickly, I'm not a huge fan of, but I think he's a good player. Michael Porter moving over to the Nets, probably going to have a bigger role. Paolo, I mean, he's the number one option there in Orlando. Brandon Miller, probably going to be one of the main options there in Charlotte. Alex Sarr had a huge leap last year, a really talented player for the Washington Wizards. Klingon is a rim protector, rebounder. He is a good player, 21 years old. And then he has old D'Angelo Russell. But, up and down this team, and even into the bench, I mean, he has some pieces here. Reed Shepherd has looked really good in the preseason. Going to have probably at least a role in the in the league this year. Lou Dort, just drop him right now. Just drop Lou Dort. Dalton Connect had a nice season last year. And these are guys I don't necessarily think immediately like these. They are really good role players for their respected teams. So some injuries happen. Murph is in a good spot to potentially find these guys in starting roles and playing 30 minutes a game. So look forward to seeing what Murph can build. I need to check. I know he was watching. Yeah, he's. I don't know if he's still watching, but I seeing if anybody said anything in the chat. But and then we have Daniel here. Um, Cade Cunningham there, Jalen Brown, Kobe White, Colin Sexton moves over to Charlotte. Um, you know, this is a team last year I felt like on paper was really good, but unfortunately, basketball is played on hardwood, and his team just did not perform again last year consistently. So why he's seen himself, in the draft lottery, basically. I think this team again, has pieces. Jared Allen, uh, Okongwu, I think fell off by the middle of the year, but yeah, I mean, he is this team. I respect, you know, I do respect, but Joel Embiid being your cornerstone and then failing to be it has really caused this team to struggle. When Joel Embiid is out there, he is one of the best players in the league. But I think at this point in his career, he's better off not even having him on his roster because you know Joel doesn't even know when he's going to play. He's become the new street clothes in the NBA. You can't build a guy. You can't build around a guy like that and expecting him to play consistently. I don't know who takes Joel Embiid at this point in his career, but to continue to try and build around Joel is just never a good idea. But I think this team, like I said, is going to be competitive. Going to be a team that is looking to turn around from what they did last year. I think Ace Bailey is a big part of that. I think Ace Bailey is going to be a guy. So very excited to see a few of these guys on this roster, see if they can make some headways in the NBA this year. And finally, we have the Beecher Creatures. Brandon Podziemski, kind of the backup to Steph. Keyshawn George, number 2 option there in Washington. Peyton Pritchard, who was really nice last year. Aldama is looking to build on build on a good year last year. Hoping that he can be a better piece for me yet. Big trade went down there. I picked up Khalil Ware, who I think is probably going to have a decent role this year for the Heat. Obviously, Victor Wembanyama, Walker Kessler is a very solid player, and Josh Giddey is a walking triple double. On the bench, we have a lot of youth. Isaiah Collier, probably going to, yeah, he's a starting point guard for the Jazz. Trey Johnson, hopefully gets some chances to play there in Washington. Matherin, without Halliburton, will probably get quite a bit of run this year. Christian Braun, another really solid role player in the league. And then guys like Buzelis, if they can step up. Nikola Jovic. Um, I'm really high on this kid. I have not moved him for a couple of reasons. And Derek Lively, if he's healthy, he's a really good player. And then Koulibaly was really good last year as well. And then obviously Keegan Murray is a nice piece if healthy. So, I don't know really where to expect the Beecher Creatures to be. I think they're more competitive than they were last year, with all these guys getting another year under their belt. But I'm not sure to if they're going to be not an upper echelon, but kind of in that 5, 6, 7 range, or if we're back again like in the 10, 9, 8 range. Um, it just depends on if these guys take some leaps. I mean, I just traded Franz, and I'm really happy with what I got for him. I mean, I'm really high on Khalil Ware. I we just really need some guard play. We need our guards to produce, and that's why I went guard heavy in the draft because I am desperate to find some guards to pair with. Um, as It's definitely going to be better than they were last year. I like this. I like this team. I could see them very well being at number 6 in 2 weeks. Um, I think the Lumberjacks are a solid squad and a team that you cannot just walk in every week with your pants down. But for right now, I just don't have enough on paper to put them any higher. Number 9, we have the Beecher Creatures. Again, much like the Lumberjacks, they are young, but they have talent nonetheless. There is talent there. They have one of the best players in the whole entire league in Wembanyama. And I think, if they can find a way to build around Wemby, um, this team has the cornerstone pieces that they're looking for to potentially make a run at some point. It might not be this year, it might be a year or two down the road, but I'm really looking forward to seeing what the Beecher Creatures can do. At number 8, I have Sergio. Um, like I said, this team is not far off. Just needs some tinkering. I think this team needs to just make a couple moves to potentially get a little bit of depth, find some youth, and we'll see what Sergio can do. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing Sergio's managing style and how he attempts to bring this team that was just left to rot last year back from the dead. At number 7, I have Daniel in freaking sheets. Like I said, this team needs to make some moves, but I think that this team's still has enough pieces to be a tough team to knock off week in and week out. And Cade Cunningham being that guy there in Detroit, and having guys like Jaylen Brown. I mean, he's going to be really solid for him. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Daniel does again this year. I think 7 is an appropriate spot for him at the moment. At number 6, I'm going to go with Clarence at number 6. I was debating, but I'm going to go with Clarence at number 6. I think this team is looking better than it did last year, but I think that, like I said, this team just might need some time. A lot of youth in this lineup, which is new for Clarence, but I think he's in a good spot, and he has some of these cornerstone pieces that make him scary with Kyrie and LeBron. If they are, healthy, to pair with Karl Anthony Towns, to pair with Tyrese Maxey, to pair with Amen Thompson, like this team could be really good. And I think 6 right now is like the middle ground I can play on this team, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what Clarence does with this team. Moving on, I got Trent at number 5. Um, on paper, yes, this team looks really good, but I think some of these guys are getting past their prime personally. But nonetheless, a lot of number 1 or number 2 options on these teams, and if he can stay healthy, and I don't even know what I'm saying because Trent's going to have a completely different roster in 2 weeks, and I'm not going to know where to rank him then either. So number 5 seems appropriate for Trent, and we move on. Number 4, I have Wyatt. in the Blade Breakers. Again, I think that this team is a very solid team. It is solid. Do I think it cracks the upper echelon of teams in the league? I do not. I think it's one to two pieces away from doing that, but I think that they are a really solid squad week in and week out, and are going to be really difficult to knock off. I think Porzingis moving over to Atlanta, Ayton on the Lakers, like he has some guys I really am looking forward to watching in new roles. I mean, Brook Lopez on the Clippers, Jokic, is Jokic. I mean, he has guys. It sucks he's not completely healthy going into the season. I mean, losing Dame was a huge loss. Pretty sure Van Fleet's out for the year too, which maybe I should have ranked him lower. But for now, he's at 4. I forgot about Van Fleet being out. Number 3, I got the Fowlers. The shot chuckers are going to chuck shots, and he's going to be competitive week in and week out. I don't really have anything to say much about the Fowlers, really, because Michael does all the talking for him. Number 2, I have the taxpayers, or evaders this year. We have a new name, the Arlington Tax Evaders. Again, upper echelon team for sure. I mean, we've done a little bit of talking about each team a little bit. Lineup. He's been there for 2 straight years as Watts. Just an absolute elite team. My favorite and my pick again to win the league. Watts has done an incredible job of managing this team, and I think going forward, we will see Watts absolutely be the guy to beat in the league. Let's go see if I can. It's not giving me the matchups for week 1. I might have to pull it up on my phone here. Give me 1 second. All right. So we have the Beecher Creatures and the Lumberjacks, the 9 and 10 ranked teams meeting in week 1. The Lumberjacks are currently favored, but really interested to see how this one shakes out. I think it will be a good matchup to start the year. And then we have Freaking the Sheets going up against the Blade Breakers and Wyatt. I'm expecting Daniel to actually win this one with some of these injuries. I know I ranked him lower. I don't know why I didn't. I kind of forgot that Wyatt had some major injuries whenever I was doing some rankings. But Wyatt, I think, falls here in week 1. We have Watts going up against Trent. Watts, I'm taking in this matchup. I think Trent gives him a run for his money, but Watts, as in Watts fashion, pulls it out. The Flagrant Fowlers and the Tax Evaders. We have some great matchups in week 1, and this is probably number 1 in my opinion. I love when we get to watch Michael and Austin face off. It's always a good time. And I'm actually going to go with the Fowlers, taking a little bit of an upset in week 1. And then I have Sergio and Clarence matching up. We have every matchup is a good matchup, in my opinion. There's not one that disappoints this week. And we'll see what Sergio can do. I'm going to take Clarence in week 1, though. And that is going to wrap up my video. I probably went way longer than I was planning. We got the Lumberjack are coming. 40 minutes in. I appreciate everybody for watching. And I probably am going to try to do every 2 weeks this year. I know I tried last year to do every 2 weeks. I'm going to try and stick to it. It's just too much to do every week with fantasy football also going on. And yeah, every 2 weeks I'll try to do a rankings. So try to expect that from me. And if I don't do it, let me know, and I will at least try to get them out for you guys. Thank you all for watching. I'm looking forward to another great season with all of you. And that'll be it for see you guys in 2 weeks.